Yeah, so I gotta, I have to lodge a bit of an interest here. Is I'm out of the province for like 9 days, and now my FanDuel empire is crumbling. Blue Jays can't hit a ball. The Bills are playing like the Jets. I mean, what is going on here? I can't. Do I have to do everything myself? I guess I do. Wow, what a couple of weeks. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 20 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. We are brought to you by Grantham Home Hardware. We are supported by the Niagara Parks Commission. We are powered by WeeStreem. Also supported by Ace Alignment, Verge Insurance, and Mac Outpost. We are ensconced here at the lovely Fiddler's Whorehouse, 149 St. Paul Street in St. Catharines. Those are your specials, ladies and germs, for today. And we have a really interesting show for you, so I don't want to delay in getting it underway. Marineland has been a word that has been on the lips of many, many, many Niagarans for many, many years. Again, this past couple of weeks, with regard to the baby belugas. I know that's a song, but they're not all babies. The beluga whales, there are well over a couple dozen, maybe as many as 30 currently at Marineland, and I've been asked many, many times, why don't we do a story on Marineland, et cetera, and we have done many stories. Well, global whale ecological marine activist Phil Demers is going to be with us on the program today to do just that and talk about the Marineland situation and the belugas, because it's a multifaceted conversation. There are a lot of different angles. We have a Mexican standoff, as the old saying goes, from a bunch of different directions on that topic. So Phil's going to be joining us at about 12:20 today. There are some protests going on even as we speak in front of St. Catharines City Hall. We're going to be talking about that in just about 30 seconds as soon as we come back. So stick around. We got a great show for you today. Hope you can spend some of your time with us today. Be right back. All right, here we are. We are going to, without further ado, go right now live to a protest that has been organized by a lady by the name of Alicia Googoo. She is with the Harsher Penalties for Violent Crimes organization. They are currently, even as we speak, protesting and demonstrating in front of City Hall on King Street in St. Catharines. Alicia, welcome to the program. Thanks for taking time out of your very busy day to join us today. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're more than welcome. Okay, tell us why we're doing this. Why are you here? What are you doing?
We feel like the justice system is failing victims. There's been an issue with a revolving door. You see a lot of reoffenders in and out, on bail, recommitting crimes. And as we all know, the situation with little E, her offender was on parole at the time. He was convicted previous to an assault on a young boy and only served about a year sentence for that. So as you can see, the justice system failed not only the first victim, but little E as well.
Little E, I wasn't aware of the fact that that was what we were calling the unfortunate victim of this heinous crime. Where did the Little E moniker come from?
So we name her by her first initial, just to protect her identity.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember when this fellow was charged. He was charged for molesting a child under 5, and this child was about 3. Is that correct?
She's 3. Yes. She just turned 4, so she was released from the hospital a day before her 4th birthday. She spent 3 weeks in the hospital.
Okay. And what is it actually that motivated you to put this initiative together, this protest, this movement, if you will, the harsher penalties for violent crimes, which is, of course, I think something a lot of us support, without question. But why you? Why now? Why you?
Okay, so when I first heard of what happened to little E, helpless, and then when I learned that he was recently released months previous to this offense, for an offense that he had only served 1 year, he failed the first victim, and I was concerned that this little girl would be failed as well from the justice system. So I reached out to some friends and family, and I asked them if they would join me in a protest outside the courthouse, but I knew that just a handful of people was not going to get the message across. So the point of the protest was to argue his release on bail. And I knew with the seriousness of the crime, the likeliness of him being released was very slim. But then again, with the justice system, you honestly never know. So that's kind of what fueled the fire there. And there was another incident shortly, previous to that, with a young girl. She was 17 years old, and there was a home invasion to her house where she was tied up and set afire. All those offenders that were involved in that situation were all on bail or parole. They were all reoffenders. So I felt like it's been a reoccurring issue. It's been an ongoing problem, not just here in our province, but all over Canada.
Yeah, we remember that story. We reported on that story ourselves on this program a number of weeks ago. And since this person that we're talking about, and we don't want to give him too much publicity by mentioning his name over and over again. It came out in comments through Niagara 411 and through this program that unconscionably he has been doing this for a long time. I don't know how someone, and he started this at a fairly young age. He's not that old now, but he started this at a young age. I don't know how someone gets into someone's house in the first place and manages to find his way into a child's bedroom and attempts to perpetrate these crimes. I don't get it. I don't understand how that happens.
And that was an alarm for me as well. When I learned, so the news article stated that he was a stranger, and there was a discrepancy there. I knew right away this individual, must have knew the layout of the home. It was obvious that he had been in this home before. People, I can't see someone being so brazen just to break into a home, not knowing where the parents slept and knowing where this little girl slept. You know what I mean? So it was obvious to me that this individual was known to the family, unfortunately.
Now, sorry to put too fine a point on this, and you don't have to go there if you don't want to, but you have some, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, some personal connection to this kind of crime. I
have, yes, unfortunately. It's mind-blowing the amount of survivors that are coming forward and sharing their voices with us.
And you are such a survivor?
I am. I'm a survivor. So it's important that I think I share my story as well, because I am sure there's other victims out there that are not aware of this. So when I was younger, when it was reported back in those days, all the files were kept on paper at the St. Catharines Police Department on Church Street. So my offender's file was destroyed in a flood in the basement at the police department. And because of that, nothing came about it. So it wasn't until I got into my adult years where I was like, hey, what's going on with this case? Is he dead? Maybe they just can't find him. So when I reached out to the officer that was involved in, the detective that was involved in my case, he had then told me that he had moved on to a different unit. He does not work in the sexual assault unit, but he then informed me that all the files at that time were destroyed in a flood. So
Alicia,
I had to reopen the case.
Can you share with us what happened to you?
I can't get into too much detail, but what I can share is that my mom's live-in boyfriend I'm going to call him by his first initial. His first initial was R. He took advantage of my mom. She was a single mom. She was very vulnerable. And he took advantage of the fact that she had 4 young children. And he took advantage of myself as well as my siblings. And my understanding was that he had a track record of doing this. He had moved across Canada. He lived in BC. He lived in Ottawa, and he was known to do this. So at that time, my understanding was he actually had a Canada-wide warrant for his arrest. And once again, here we are.
How old were you?
Nothing's really came about it.
How old were you and your siblings?
I was very young when it started. I was just a couple years old when it started.
You were a couple of years old?
Yeah. A couple years, yes. And my sister's here with me today. She's 2 years older than me. She was a victim to this individual as well. Yes. My other sister.
I'm sorry, I was speechless for a second. It's hard for. I hesitate to use the word normal, but it's hard for everyday people to wrap your head around it.
It is, yes.
You were about 2 when it started. How long did this go on?
A few years, couple years, till my mom started to kind of catch on, and then he took off. And that's another thing too. I think it's important to note here that my mom didn't even know his real name. He went by different aliases. So police knew him by different aliases as well. So
was this man ever brought to justice, Alicia?
Not for us, no. He has a very lengty criminal record. So the officer that was originally assigned to my case knew him very well, Constable Bleach. When I last spoke to him, when he told me he was transferred to another unit and he informed me about the files being destroyed, this was about 2012. I last spoke to Constable Bleach. He told me, I remember exactly who you're talking about. I pulled him over and arrested him for a warrant for an armed robbery. And when I pulled him over in the van, he had a sawed-off shotgun. So, like, this individual is very dangerous. And like I said, he has a track record of doing this. He preys on single parents, single vulnerable parents. So it's important for someone like him to be locked up and held accountable.
And where is he now? And
this is one of the reasons why we feel it's important for the sex offender registry to be open to the public, because this is not just my story. This is other victims who have came forward and shared their story. It's the same thing. They are on the sex offender registry, and there was no way that their mom or family or teachers or any kind of authoritative figure could.
Okay, before we come
know this.
Before we come back to what's happening today, I can't leave your past out of it for just a moment. This animal that affected your life so greatly, where is he now?
Last I heard, so I was in the process of hiring a private investigator, and then he told me, before we move forward with this, maybe you should reach out to the Ottawa police and see if they can give you information on him. I called the Ottawa Police Department. They told me, I'm sorry, we can't provide you information. So then when I reopened the case, the detective assigned to my case eventually informed me that his last whereabouts was in Ottawa. That was his last warrant, and that was the last time he was picked up on a warrant. And that was, so I'm not too sure exactly how long ago that was, but
can I ask you another
within the last 5 minutes.
Yes. With a view to trying to educate those of us that have thankfully not had to be part of that world, I would like to ask you how this has affected, how your experiences, how your background and history has affected relationships that you have today.
Oh, that's a really good question, because it definitely has a prolonged, long-lasting effect. A lot of people don't realize that when you go through this kind of thing, and even I didn't understand, like I didn't realize until I started my healing process that a lot of what I went through was associated to that. So I became an addict to numb myself. I fell victim to the streets, and I went through years of rehabilitation, a lot of counseling, a lot of outside help through different resources throughout the Niagara region. The one thing that our region is missing is trauma-based therapy, and I think that's really important that we have that available to victims. I'm sure that victim services does help you with that if there is a conviction, but unfortunately in my case there was no conviction. So that being said, I'm now
seconds on the trauma-based therapy.
Yes.
Drugs and medication, like pharmaceutical drugs and medication, that doesn't help when repeated trauma keeps happening. You need to deal with the trauma first. That includes therapy, like talking it out.
Who are we talking to now?
People in the back watching.
So that being said, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Yeah, I know. Somebody in the background.
It took a while to have some sort of normal life. And it wasn't until I got, that's where I was going with this. I'm now 13 years sober. And when I got back into sobriety in 2012, that's when I made contact with the first detective on my case. So now I'm working with his last name's, I can't remember the detective's name. Anyways, so my sister, unfortunately, she also fell victim to addiction, and her body was later pulled out of a tent at a camp, homeless encampment. Sorry, my apologies.
So
I feel like that's important to talk about, because I feel like a lot of people who are struggling with addiction and homelessness, a lot of it has to do with undealt with trauma.
Right.
Yeah.
Not surprisingly so. Alicia, your protest today, I hope, gets the attention of not just local law enforcement, but the judiciary as well, and does send the message. And I appreciate you telling your story. And thanks for having the courage to join us today and share. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on your show and putting the awareness out there. It's important that everybody gets on board with this so that we can get the government officials' attention.
Indeed.
Yes.
Alicia Googoo, thank you very much for being here. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
You too. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye. Oh, they walk among us. Kevin, the damaged, and the hurted. It's every time you turn around, there's another story that you almost wish you didn't have to hear, but we do have to hear it, and that's why there is, at this very moment, in front of St. Catharines City Hall, the demonstration, if you will, on behalf of the harsher penalties for violent crimes group and organization. All right. We have, I want to run down our sponsors in a bit as well, but one of the other major stories that I've received so many comments about, why don't you do a show on this, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, we've done shows on this and we're trying to sort it out, et cetera. And finally we thought, with what's happened over the last little while, and I was away for 9 or 10 days, I thought we got to get Phil back on here. Phil Demers, of course, he became pretty much world famous, or at least of notoriety, with the documentary called The Walrus Whisperer. But since then, he's been in the news a lot. He's been on with Rogan. He's going to be on, I think, NBC Nightly News tonight as well. And I don't know whether he is a reluctant celebrity or not, but he is a celebrity nevertheless. Phil Demers, thanks for being back on the program. Phil, how you doing today?
Interesting times as always, but always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Well, you've had quite a ride over the last number of years, haven't you?
Had I known the decision I was going to make was going to have this much of an impact in my life, I would have done it sooner. Man, I beat myself up for weeks, months, almost into a year of whether or not I was going to come out in the way that I did to speak out about the conditions and the issues at Marineland, and they made it no picnic.
No.
But it's a decision. It's a decision that I certainly probably call the most impactful and maybe the best decision I ever made in my life.
And I want to talk about you more at the end of this talk, but right now I want to focus on the toilet seat conversation. And by toilet seat, I mean up, down, in, out, confusion, misinformation, disinformation, etc. That has been going on around currently going around about the beluga whales still inhabiting the Marineland grounds. Now, of course, Marineland is no longer operating as an amusement park or an entertainment facility for animals, etc., and that's great. My limited knowledge at the current time with regard to the current state stemmed from, and the reason we reached out to you, and sorry about the long setup, but is the fact that Marineland reached out to the federal government for a grant to be able to afford to keep these whales alive at the threat of at the threat of, let me finish, at the threat of euthanasia. There was an offer from China that wanted to buy some, if not all, of the whales. I don't know. You can give us the details on that. The government said no because that would send them back into an entertainment-style captivity. Then this whale sanctuary project reared its head out of Nova Scotia. Okay, I know you're shaking your head. I'm just saying this is what we know out in the public. This is what we know out in the world. And Marineland said, no, that's a non-starter because there's environmental issues and et cetera, and the project, the whale sanctuary project in Nova Scotia isn't even up and running right now. So I just ran through this in a hurry. This is our public knowledge. This is the stuff that we've sort of absorbed from the ether about this topic. So now I'm coming back to you. Tell us what's really going on.
Okay. So we passed a law in 2019 banning whale breeding, whale performances for the entertainment purposes, and some limitations on import-export. Those limitations are such that the ultimate decision is granted, or rather is given to the minister, the federal minister who ultimately oversees this. And she's given the latitude to reject or deny on the basis of whether or not the move is in the interest of the animals, meaning they have to be going to a better place. The argument against China being a better place certainly is not due to the conditions of the facilities. I can attest to the fact that Chimelong Ocean Kingdom is a newer facility with really pretty great conditions, all considered. Now, this is weighing in the balance of what a new facility versus an old one looks like.
Right.
Now, the weight of the decision that the minister made was on the basis that in China they would intently be breeding those beluga whales, which is against the spirit of S203, as well as performing in entertainment-like facility, which again, this is something that Chimelong does, as well as most other countries. Frankly, this bill that we passed in 2019 is a rather progressive bill. It gives the whales an element of personhood where their persons themselves are actually given consideration, whereas typically when it comes to animals, that doesn't exist. So it's actually a really progressive bill that once gets caught on by the rest of the world will certainly achieve the objective that we are, which is to put an end to the senseless exploitation of these whales, and in the case of the law, whales, dolphins, and porpoises. So that said, Marineland had a rather lucrative deal with China. So first question is, well, why wouldn't they have had any lucrative deals with facilities in the U.S., for instance, where we know they have animal protection laws and governing oversight? Whereas in China, there isn't. And that's where there's a big void. There's quite a void in animal protection laws. Frankly, I think none exist in China. But the reason that the U.S. was not in consideration was because, as you may or may not be aware, a number of years ago, 5 beluga whales were sent to Mystic Aquarium, where 3 died within weeks and months, having everything to do with a condition that they'd had at Marineland, nothing to do with the transport at all. We had forewarned that those animals should have never been medically cleared. In fact, there was reluctance to medically clear them from the professionals that actually did at the time. But nonetheless, those animals died. Mystic broke off their business arrangement with Marineland, which was originally intent on sending more beluga whales there. SeaWorld as well had to sue Marineland a number of years ago to actually get one of their loaner orcas who had been loaned to the park for the purpose of breeding. But because of issues that had been taking place at SeaWorld, a trainer was killed by this particular whale's father.
Right.
and a number of safety concerns and condition concerns, or concerns for the conditions at Marineland. Ultimately, SeaWorld had to sue Marineland to get that whale back. So the U.S. doesn't want to do any business or have any association with Marineland whatsoever, whereas those would be considered more optimal places for for a landing, for a soft landing for those beluga whales. So that said, what you're seeing in the media right now with regards to this blustery, well, if we can't make this deal to China, then we can't afford the whales. I'm familiar with this particular brand, and that's straight out of Marineland's lawyer's familiar theme. In my lawsuit, 13 years of litigation versus Marineland, I dealt with similar threats where it was shut up or the walrus dies kind of vibe to it all. But I stress that I saw that mission through, and we successfully had those walruses removed from Marineland, essentially ending walrus captivity in Canada. And I will stress the same with these belugas. This is a manufactured financial crisis. It should be stressed that Marineland still sits on 700 acres of prime land. This is more bluster at being angry that they couldn't ultimately make top dollar on the sale, and now they're having to, eat a little bit of humble pie and likely give those animals away to other facilities. But having said all of this, I was in defense of the move and in favor of the move to China. I still am. I think that for those whales, I think the imminent rescue or removal from Marineland is more important than what is a theoretic, or rather the ideology.
Yeah. Phil, this is where
these animals should be
I'm going to jump in here, and this is really the crux of the matter, why I really wanted your opinion on this, because how do we, I guess my question is, how do we bridge the gap between a legislative position that is, in essence, a good, as you mentioned before, it's a good policy. It's a good framework to use as far for the protection of animals. So how do we bridge the gap? I kind of felt from what I heard that the China deal was probably good for the whales too, but how do you bridge the gap between the legislative position and the protection position? How do we? Does the government need to reevaluate or put a codicil in on this policy, or how do we make that happen?
Well, first off, that policy is not blanketed such that it's an automatic rejection. The minister could ultimately have approved that move. She just had to weigh whether or not it was in the interest of the animals, and in this case, she weighed that in fact wasn't, and that she wanted to see other proposals for Marineland.
But you don't agree with the minister.
In this case, I don't. I think that in this case, in the weight of her decision making, she should have considered the imminent conditions, the imminent issues, versus that of the long-term considerations. Because what animals are you protecting if they all wind up dying at Marineland at this point? And did the policy work? Did it satisfy the intentions? The intentions of the policy was Marineland's whales, when they're gone, by whatever means that they're gone, Canada does not want to have captive whales in that country anymore. So that's our policy. It's not that the policy of the rest of the world. It's adopted in other places, and it continues to grow. New South Wales and Australia picked it up. France is dealing with similar legislation.
Right.
But not all the countries do. So where in theory and ideology, it's written poetically and beautifully. In the circumstance currently, given how much things have changed in the last 5 years, I think the idea that looking at the interests of the animals as to whether or not they're going to be bred or have to wave to a crowd versus rot in Marineland, I think that in the circumstances she could just as well have approved it. And frankly, and as another perspective, those tanks in Chimelong are not ready for the whales yet. They've got 3 mothers and calves that are in the tanks that are occupying the majority of where they want to put some of these belugas. I don't think they frankly wanted 30. And I can't attest to any of this. I can only tell you what I know logistically from the facility over there.
And that's what I was going to ask you about that. I've heard the term 30, as you just mentioned, whales currently at Marineland. And that was my other question, is this facility in China, what kind of capacity do they have, and how many whales could they accommodate? That was kind of where I was going with the next question. So
close to, if they wanted to, the whole 30 but that would change drastically the entirety of their program. They do have a number of orcas in captivity. They have beluga whales on display, both on display for shows and off of display, means off-site on other facilities. And I don't know the extent to which those are developed, but I know that that's where the babies and calves are. Okay. So is there room for 30 whales there? With some shuffling, possibly, with some changing of programs, possibly, something that, again, Chimelong would know more about than me. But I'm doubtful that they would have been ready to receive 30 whales. Frankly, I think it comes with the caveat that they had to wait for months. But I wonder if the funding to feed them at the time, once this deal would have been approved, maybe would have been picked up by Chimelong. But that said, I don't think 30 were going to Chimelong. I still think maybe half of the whales or less should go to Chimelong. I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes to distributing these whales, there are few options.
What about this WSP thing in Nova Scotia? Is that just a red herring? Pardon the pun.
Yeah, it's that's been. So first, I should stress, I was a major supporter, both vocally and financially, in the capacity that, on my birthday, I would ask people to donate, and thousands of dollars would flood into that pipe dream. And it turns out that what we've learned since their inception, which was a little after 2000, essentially after the Blackfish documentary, is when some of these people came together and said, well, let's create a whale sanctuary project. And they got initial funding and some pretty significant funding at that. It turns out they've been lying and deceiving for a long time, very calculatedly. It turns out that, they're a fancy painting and theory, but they don't even have I won't even talk about the permitting, the environmental issues. Those are all highlighted by Marineland as well. And I don't often agree with Marineland, but in two cases currently I do. Whales should have gone to China. Number two, there is no whale sanctuary project. It's bluster. It's theory. They don't have the landowners' approval to even build this thing. Yeah. So it's a non-starter to begin with. And when you start to look at their funding, you realize they've gone through millions of dollars, and all those millions have gone directly to two people's wages and little to nothing more to show. So there is no whale sanctuary project in Canada. It serves only to muddy the waters of debate. And those who have an ideology that are just like, it's either perfection for the whales or nothing, don't understand the scope of the scenario, don't understand what is necessary for the care of whales, and especially don't understand what is out there for the whales. So if your intention is we shouldn't send the whales to anywhere in captivity, we should wait for a sanctuary, you just condemned all those whales to death.
Well, that's a pretty concise answer to that question. I felt pretty antsy about that option myself. So that's, realistically, that's just off the table. So how much
have even been brought on the table to begin with?
Okay, fine. But that's been something, as you said, that's been brought out there to sort of muddy the waters on this whole conversation.
And pay some fat cat some wages, yeah.
Yeah, so there's somebody out east making some pretty good dough at this.
No, U.S. They're U.S.-based.
They're U.S.-based? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't surprise me either.
Just saying.
Okay. How much does it cost to feed these whales?
Way less than what Marineland is projecting. Way less. So if we do the math, the whale trainers there are doing between $40,000 and $50,000 a year. That's at the higher end. They've got 16 of them. Do the math. That's less than $1 million a year. I can't vouch for electricity costs. I don't know. Veterinarian bills. I can attest to what it cost, at least when I was there with meds, at least with one orca, and that was pretty expensive, all things considered. But it's still, even yet, doesn't come near Marineland's estimated $2 million a month. That's an outrageous cost. The fish that they buy is from Allen's Fisheries on the East Coast in Newfoundland. They're buying the not for human consumption quality herring and capelin. They're getting 80 boxes of 33-pound boxes per skid sent to them. They're going through, well, if you're going to between, probably 25 and maybe 35 pounds of fish between a smaller beluga is going to eat between 20 and 40, let's say, to the bigger per day. You've got 4 dolphins that are probably eating less than 20, 2 sea lions that are eating 4 or 5 pounds a day of this fish. I've done the math, and Marineland's off by millions in that cost. But it shouldn't be surprised. Marineland also sued me for $1.5 million at a time. They like to bluster big numbers. They always have. They always claim everything's the biggest or the tallest, and they continue. That number's not accurate. It's much cheaper.
Are there still regular inspections, health inspections, regulatory inspections on the conditions that these whales and dolphins and sea lions are being kept in? Is there a regular oversight of the conditions that these animals are in?
What I can tell you is the province has a hand in the water quality now. It's when it comes down to who's responsible for the water quality, I suppose it can be said that it would be Marineland on the basis that it's their place. But the Ontario government has had and continues to have a heavy hand in the quality of the water. So they're not just inspecting anymore. They're in there.
Where is this going, Phil? How do you see this? Right now, it just seems like a whole lot of just, again, another bad pun, treading water. What's going?
See the animals.
What can go on? What's happening? Where do we go from here?
Couple scenarios. First off, yesterday, CAZA, which is the Canadian Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and the AZA, which is the American one, they issued a blank statement offering their full support in helping Marineland. Which, by the way, that should have been approached a long time ago. Not to suggest that they have much power, but they do have the connections to the facilities. They're going to create a conversation of, creating a coalition of facilities that might want to receive Marineland's whales. Marineland will still want to sell. So there's going to be conflict to a certain extent and to a certain degree with how much is ultimately paid for the distribution of these whales. I would like to imagine a scenario where the government steps in and seizes the whales and gives them to this coalition of facilities willing to take them, because that seems like the appropriate measures. I can see something like that happening. But my guess, you're going to see the whales get distributed around the U.S. and the rest are likely going to China, arguably, conceivably other countries, but. The minister is going to reassess this.
Okay.
She'll have no choice. And ultimately, those whales will all be gone. And I can assure you one thing. 0 whales will die on the basis of cost savings, as a cost savings measure. 0.
So that's good
it's
to
not
hear.
Only illegal. It's not only illegal. Not a single solitary vet, employee, human that I've known, that I even imagine to exist, are going to have a hand in such a heinous crime on the basis of cost savings measure. It's never going to happen. And Marineland is now, by the way, already backpedaling that. They don't, they see where this has gone. They didn't imagine they'd be painted and such because, again, Marineland is always trying to lay blame on everyone else. And so they're trying to blame the activists for the law and the minister for the rejection, for the fact that they themselves can't deal with these whales. But, it should be stressed that their choice of how to deal it has everything to do with money and nothing else.
Thanks for unmuddying the waters. I appreciate your time. You're a busy guy these days for sure. Phil Demers, always a friend of Niagara and a friend of this program. Have a good time on NBC tonight, wherever that conversation goes. And we really do appreciate your time. And thanks for clarifying that situation, because it's on a lot of people's lips these days. Have yourself a great day.
You too. Cheers. Always happy to speak.
Take care, man. All right. This is Season 6, Episode 20 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. We are brought to you by Grantham Home Hardware, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. The two guys there that are your principals are Jake and Rob. If you have any issues, questions, whatever, go in and ask for one of those guys or any of the helpful people at Grantham Home Hardware. Niagara Parks Commission, always for the last number of weeks, a constant supporter of the program. And man, what a lot of things are happening at the Niagara Parks. The Niagara Takes Flight attraction opened a couple of weeks ago. I was out of town and I had a chance to go, but I'm going to go, and our friends that went said it was spectacular. So check that out. Still some golfing left, so you can check out those as well. 56 kilometers of Niagara Parkway they're responsible for the attractions and the upkeep and the policing, etc. Niagara Parks, thanks for being a part of us. Couldn't be a better fit for us here. WeeStreem powers this program. Kevin, Jack, and Brandon Scram formed this company about a decade ago, and they can look after whatever events or whatever you need. Streaming is where it's at these days. I even saw an announcement that some of the major networks are, Bell, I saw today, they're going to almost get rid of TV top boxes and go entirely with the streaming technology. And WeeStream is one of the leaders of that around Canada for sure. We'll talk to Kevin more about that later.
Hey, I just wanted to point out, I threw up there just some photos from the Cows Come Home show. Their big screening last Sunday was great to be at the Greater Fort Erie Secondary School and meet Lindsay and Katie in person, and it was a blast. There you go. There's some photos there. There's Lindsay and Katie who have been on our show, and there they are with Mayor Redcop.
Thanks for standing in on that, Kevin. It was another event that unfortunately I missed while I was away. A lot happened when I leave town.
It's all good.
Ace Alignment, 64 North Street, St. Catharines, just off Geneva, behind the police station. For whatever ails your vehicle, wheel alignments, brakes, and suspensions, and front-end repairs, and et cetera, et cetera. Motor or vehicle inspections, if you still need that for some reason, by all means, that's the place. Darren Miller, Matt Compton, the two principals that look after Ace Alignment, all the rest of it, and we really appreciate your support here. Verge Insurance for auto, home, business, life, whatever your insurance needs. The brokers that can put you in touch with the right people for the right reasons. Verge Insurance Group over on Ontario Street. In business here since 1953. Oh! Anyway, thank you, Verge Insurance. And the Milk Outpost, what can we say about Sean, the owner, Derek, the head tech over there, your source for everything Apple in Niagara. Apple sales and service has never been easier for your Mac, your iPad, your iPhone, whatever it is, everything. Apple at Mac Outpost are on North End Lake Street in the Dollar Tree Plaza where the Tim Hortons is, across from Don's Lighting. Anyway, just the best. And of course, I want to give a nod of the chapeau. This is one of the original chapeaus I got, actually, from Beau Chapeau in downtown Niagara on the Lake on Queen Street. Kevin Neufeld and the gang, thanks always for helping to keep my dome protected. Kevin?
Yeah, Lee, I want to throw this video up for you.
Okay.
Because this is exactly how I stumbled on this. And what the hell is going on here? What do you see?
Well, if I didn't know what I was seeing, I wouldn't know what I was seeing. There's obviously some sort of iPro or video cam or something on something taking a shot of someone doing something. That's about as clear as I can make it until I know what it is. And that's our friend Olympian Lonnie Bissonnette, who knows no bounds, apparently, when it comes to thrill-seeking and keeping himself active in a whole lot of different ways. Lonnie, it's been a while since we've chatted. How the heck are you doing?
I'm doing good, Lee. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. But now I have to ask you, what the hell are you doing? What was that?
You know me, right? I'm always looking for adventures, always looking for something new to try out and just enjoy life, have fun, right?
Well, tell me the story.
Okay. So I happened to see a video of a friend of mine doing this. He's basically was strapped to the roof of a Corvette out on the Bonneville Salt Flats. And the Corvette's doing, 115, 120 miles an hour, so 180 kilometers an hour. And I was like, oh my God, Jesse, that looks cool. I'd love to try that. So he said, hey, it's my friend's gig. It's his setup. It's his car. Let me talk to him and see if he'll be all right with strapping a guy in a wheelchair to the roof of his Corvette. And it took 10 minutes, and he got back to me. The guy said, hell yeah, let's do this. This would be super cool. So, next thing you know, I'm heading to the Bonneville Salt Flats and getting strapped to the roof of a Corvette and held down by suction cups. Actually, if you look at the video, there's suction cups onto the windshield of the Corvette.
Now, so you obviously didn't take the wheelchair along for the ride. You're out of the chair, and they lay you spread-eagled. Now, were you in some sort of? It looked like you were in some sort of wingsuit or something. Yeah,
it's a skydiving, base jumping wingsuit that we see on all the videos, or squirrel suits as people like to call them. I put the wingsuit on. They lifted me up, set me on the roof of the Corvette, strapped me down, and off we went. We started going, and we were doing about 180 kilometers an hour in that video.
180. Okay.
Yeah, 180.
Okay. The one word that's probably going through a lot of people's minds right now, why?
Why? Yeah, why not? It looked like a lot of fun to me. And, I hadn't actually been in a wingsuit in over 10 years. After my accident, I tried to go back and fly a wingsuit in the skydiving environment.
Yeah.
And it didn't really go that well. So, because I don't know what my legs are doing, and that causes a lot of problems.
Yeah, it's hard to balance.
So I thought, hey, this would be a good way to actually feel out the wingsuit and see if I could technically fly the wingsuit. So I saw it as a challenge and as a way to, to safely, see if I could fly one of the newer wingsuits, because the wingsuit that I flew years and years ago was very small compared to the wingsuits that they fly now. They're quite huge, they're like a flying carpet. They're massive.
And for people that might not be, and I don't know why they wouldn't be at this point, but for people that might not be familiar with your story, remind us of how that accident actually occurred, if you don't mind reliving it for us.
Yeah. So July 19th, 2004, I was down in the U.S. with some Canadian friends. We were base jumping off of a 500-foot bridge, and it was my 1100th base jump that was coming up. So I said, hey, guys, we got to do something cool to for me to remember it. Because after 1100 base jumps and, almost 2,000 skydives at that point, you forget jumps, and there are certain jumps that will stick out in your memory. So I wanted this one to be one that I would remember. So we had enough Canadians there to set a new Canadian record, simultaneously jumping off of the bridge at the same time. And I was also going to do a quadruple gainer, which is an outward-facing, backward-flipping jump. And I messed up. I was flipping too slow. I rushed the opening, and my legs hadn't quite finished that last rotation, so the parachute came out, wrapped around my legs, never inflated, and just basically hung me upside down, and I impacted the river. We figure probably doing about 120, 125 kilometers an hour.
Yeah. And the rest, as they say, is history. So what do you take away? What do you take away for people that might not be familiar with this? I am, because I've been a kind of a fan of speedy things for a long time. The Bonneville Salt Flats is a place where land speed records have been set and planned to be set by whether it be trucks, sport cars, motorcycles, whatever it is, because of its structure, and because it has such a large flat area that you can go for a long time to build up to speed and stay there, etc. And it's kind of a spectacular place to see and be a part of. It's one of nature's great wonders, I think. But
absolutely,
yeah. So what did you take away from this experience, this latest one, Lonnie?
Other than like you say, the spectacular view of the Bonneville Salt Flats, like you cannot see the end of it. It just goes off and keeps going until the horizon, which is absolutely amazing, completely like flat and beautiful. And but from the experience, is never give up, as always, right? Never give up. And I thought, no, maybe I can get back into a wingsuit again. Maybe I will be able to fly a wingsuit in the skydiving environment once again after doing this. Well, we got to do a few more test runs, but it's piqued my interest to maybe look back into trying to fly a wingsuit once again.
I was going to say, with the newer technology, since you went through your accident, and you mentioned in the past a little while ago that the legs, because you can't control them properly, isn't a great thing. But with the technology that we have today, I wouldn't put it past you to be up there flying again.
Well, hopefully we'll see it.
Yeah. Fascinating story, Lonnie, and God bless you for your enthusiasm and your positive outlook. It's a message that a lot of us could do well to emulate. So Godspeed, and I mean that.
Thanks for having me back, Lee. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, keep us posted on your next exploits, will you?
I will. All
right, man.
You have a great day.
Lonnie Bissonnette, always a pleasure. Great fellow. An inspiration. Kevin, to all those that might think that, hey, there we are. This is our just extremely chic set at 149 St. Paul Street in downtown St. Catharines, right across from the Meridian Center, where you go over to see the hockey games and all the shows and everything. Come in here for a burger and a bun or a brew or whatever it is, and say hi. We always appreciate the fact that every couple of weeks we kind of get in the way of the servers and the business here at Fiddler's, but they tuck us over here at the side where we can't do too much damage, and we really enjoy it. And Dave McParian and his gang do just a fabulous job here at Fiddler's. So come on in and patronize the place from time to time. Kevin, people like Lonnie are... I use the word inspiration, and it truly is the case. So many younger people are less inhibited by their shortcomings than I find some people of your generation or my generation, because, well, I have an injury, it's all over, I can't do much, and but then there's people like Lonnie that step up and say, hey, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can't, but let's give it a shot. And that is so inspirational.
Yeah, I mean, he was already living an adventurous life, right?
Already,
he was already just, jumping off buildings and doing whatever he could.
Yeah.
And it seems that after his accident, he may have become even more daring, and now he's had more opportunity. I mean, I threw up the graphic there. He's previously been on the program because he's a para bobsled guy.
Yes.
And they targeted him. They did up at the upper levels of Canada because he's a base jumper who's now in a wheelchair.
Yep.
So he likes going fast. He loves thrill seeking. That's exactly what we need for somebody shuttling down the course in a bobsled. So next thing you know, Lonnie's traveling the world.
You can tell just looking at him, he's absolutely jazzed by his life, and that is spectacular. One of the things that has been front page in the news in Niagara is this, actually all across the province, has been the Ontario Community College support workers strike. And we're going to try to get a lady on who posted something on Niagara 411 in sort of a, what do you think about this post, and the fact that they were talking about complete access and all the rest of it, open to everyone, and there were actually people blocking off access to various college campuses. A bit of an oxymoron. But here's what happened as of just this morning. I was reading this update, and it came from Niagara College. Update from it wasn't directly from Niagara, but it was the College Employer Council, the CEC. It's the agency that represents Ontario's publicly funded colleges in bargaining. Now, here's the latest on that. Ontario colleges and full-time support staff have reached a tentative agreement ending a 5-week strike at Ontario's 24 colleges. A weekend-long private mediation session with mediator William Kaplan broke a bargaining impasse, leading to a tentative settlement between the College Employer Council, representing Ontario colleges, and the Ontario Public Service Employees Union, otherwise known as OPSU, representing the 10,000 striking employees. Here's a quote. Support staff play an important role in our colleges, supporting operations and contributing to student success, said Graham Lloyd, CEO of CEC. A lot of letters. We're grateful to have them back to work. The past 5 weeks of the strike have been challenging for everyone involved, said Lloyd. We appreciate the persistence of the bargaining teams on both sides and the guidance of mediator Kaplan to reach this agreement. The tentative agreement is still subject to the union members' ratification by September the 4th, 2025. In agreement with OPSU, picketing at all Ontario colleges will end immediately, and employees will turn to work on Thursday, October the 16th, meaning tomorrow. And so that is very good news. And of course, it has to be ratified, as I mentioned earlier in the statement. But right now, it looks like the turmoil and the blockades and the entrance difficulties and complications are over, at least for the time being. So that's great news. 5 weeks into that. Good news. There was one of the other things that was weird. You don't often hear of gunshots going off in Niagara-on-the-Lake, but there was a story that appeared in Niagara 411 over the past little while about this fellow who said his car was, as it says in that post, heavily damaged by gunfire. So here's how the post starts. Hi, everyone. I'm hoping someone might have seen something unusual or caught it on camera. Between Thursday, October the 2nd at 7 p.m. and Friday, October the 3rd at 6 a.m., so Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, 2nd and 3rd of October, a vehicle heavily damaged by gunfire while parked on East and West Line, Niagara on the Lake. Now, this isn't downtown, so it's sort of rural. Niagara on the Lake between Grantham Town Line Road and Concession 6 Road. Police are actively investigating and are looking for any leads, especially any vehicles entering or leaving the area around that time. If you have security cameras nearby or noticed any suspicious vehicles or noises, please reach out to me directly or contact the Niagara Regional Police. So, Kevin, only two scenarios come to mind here. Either it's just blatant, random. What's the word? I'm looking for
vandalism.
Vandalism. Thank you. It's the V word. Yeah. So that's what I was looking at. Just somebody, bunch of young people or kids or guys, whatever, like they used to smack the heads off mailboxes with baseball bats back in the old days. Somebody going by with a gun and just sees a car sitting there and just shoots it up. It may be as simple as that. As horrible as it is, it may be that simple. The other scenario, of course, is if it was something targeted and somebody doesn't like somebody enough and you go and shoot the car up. I can't see any other reason why somebody would have their car shot full of bullet holes sitting on a road in rural Niagara on the Lake. Looks like a pellet gun, not enough damage to be a small caliber. I don't know. Those shots did not look like a pellet gun to me. Some people say it could be.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's, weighing in as they often do. Some
guns.
Gun experts claiming to be.
I guess so, maybe. And if it's a pellet gun, you're talking about vandalism, nothing more serious than that. Although it's serious to the person that owns the car. I don't want to minimize it.
I don't know if this picture is from this or if this is a second incident.
I don't know. I know a little bit about guns. That looks a little bit big for a pellet. Maybe
not.
That looks like a BB.
Well, I think that's the same thing. Isn't it a pellet gun or a
BB gun? No.
gun?
A BB is different than a pellet.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. How are they different?
A BB is a little round copper thing.
Yeah.
And a pellet is a mushroom-shaped lead thing.
Oh, okay.
They're two different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mushroom-shaped lead thing sounds much more dangerous.
Well, it is more powerful than a BB.
Yeah, okay.
You can get shot in a hip by a BB at 30 feet, and you're going to have a bruise, but that's about it.
That's crazy. Imagine walking out in the morning.
Now, maybe there are more powerful BB guns now than there were when I was a kid, but that's...
Yeah, but you wake up in the morning, Lee, and...
Yeah.
What the...
Yeah, exactly. What the... All right.
What the heck was that?
I want to give you just a quick view of what's coming up on the program. We're going to be chatting with a lady named Brandy Henderson, and she has taken on a heavier leadership role in an organization and an initiative called the Magnificent Women's Market. And I know not a whole lot about this at all, which is precisely why Brandy is going to be on the program today, and she's going to explain to us exactly what the Magnificent Women's Market is. Now, the actual bricks and mortar location is temporarily closed for renovations this week. It'll be reopening on the 18th of October, which would make it Saturday, I guess. I think Saturday is the 18th. Am I right? Yeah. So this is just in time to talk about what it is as they get ready to give rebirth to this organization and to this place in Niagara Falls. It's on Queen Street, I do believe. But again, I could be corrected, as I often am. Kevin, what have you been up to?
Just busy. Just busy with work. Last night I was in Port Colborne to do their council meeting. Meanwhile, we were also out at West Lincoln, and Brandon was lending our services and his time to his son's hockey team. He was streaming the game live for all the parents for both our team and the visiting team as well. Might have been in from Humberstone or something like that. So that and family stuff, keeping us busy. It was a nice Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
And you?
I've been away, as I mentioned before, away for about 10 days. We were in British Columbia visiting grandbabies and things like that. But other things come to the fore when you travel. You see what's happening in other cultures. And, of course, we have the postal strike, the Canadian postal strike, which was a federal deal, and that happened out in British Columbia as well. Now, as I understand it, Canada Post has decided to return to rotating strikes now in various areas, which will probably be even less effective than the strike that's been going on for a number of weeks that has been not effective at all. I couldn't think of a dumber time or situation for people to go on strike for more wages and more security because of the business model of Canada Post just being not sustainable the way it is. It's a non-starter. I can't imagine the workers of Canada Post, the daily workers of Canada Post that are on strike right now, actually thinking that they're ever going to get any of that money back that they've lost while they're striking, and whether they're ever going to cut a deal that is going to return us to the salad days, those good old days of Canada Post. It's not going to happen. And especially now, rotating strikes. Oh, I didn't notice when they went on a full strike, so how am I going to notice when they went on a rotating strike? It just doesn't make, it makes no sense, people.
Lee, isn't the rotating strike just actually proving a successful business model?
Exactly.
I don't know what it is. What do I get? That's what I think the solution is.
We can reduce service and still have service.
I need my mail once a week. So is that the rotating strike? I only get it once a week? Perfect.
And we've talked before, everybody was up in arms at the LCBO when Premier Ford brought in the booze in convenience stores and supermarkets and all that kind of thing. Well, in BC, they've been doing that for years and years and years. Well, the BC liquor stores, the provincial-operated liquor stores, the outlets called BC Liquor, is on strike currently in British Columbia. While at the same time, the private, what they call beer and wine stores, and they all have their own names, be it Last Call or Otter Creek or whatever the heck you want to name it, they're all still operating. They operate from 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. and sometimes later, 7 days a week, holidays and notwithstanding. It's just, they're just there. And I wonder, why is that strike valid for people that are out on the picket lines at the BC liquor stores? Because you can still buy stuff everywhere. Maybe the stock is a little thinner than it used to be because the private stores have to buy from the provincial warehouses, etc. So the stocks are maybe not what they might be, but it doesn't even make a dent in the regular lives and routines of the people. It doesn't make a dent.
It seems that they misjudged what they thought was leverage.
There is no leverage.
Well, they thought that discontinuing their service was their leverage.
Discontinuing your service only points out the fact, like Kevin pointed out the fact about the Post, it points out the fact that, well, now we thought your jobs were necessary in the past. We've been able to live without them, so maybe they're not necessary now. Yeah. Nothing could send a more negative message in tandem with what you were trying to achieve and fail. It's just,
Now, Lee, if you want to go to
the humanity.
to core services, I mean, absolute core services that are necessary. The firefighters in Welland and I know the neighboring communities, Thorold and Port Colborne, were all helping out yesterday at Humberstone, and it was a stack of wood in the landfill that caught fire.
So many photos of that Humberstone landfill that was incredible.
That's quite the blaze. Now, Lee, I'm really just, setting up the actual story that I want to talk about on the left, which, of course, is much more funny than this. But thank you to all of our first responders and firefighters that were battling this blaze overnight, just trying to make sure that our community is safe. I mean, you see the enormity of it there.
Yes. Now we need to switch to our home game. You can play along at home. It's called Name That Dummy. You have This is all in fun, but you can play along. We are trying to name that mannequin, or name that dummy, if you will. How do we do that, Kevin?
Here, I'll put it up here. How do you actually do it?
How do we do that?
Two mannequins, spin a name for each.
We're trying to name our...
Stop, drop, and roll by the Central Fire Station any Saturday morning in October or November to fill out a ballot. So you go Saturday mornings. I don't know why I have to physically go there, but anyway, what I want to see is I'm sure that in the comments here they will not disappoint.
No, let's see some of the names we
here.
have.
Oh, that's not good.
Humberstone Harry, Vulcan, the Roman god of fire, Blaze or Ash. That's not bad. Well, we hope though that they would get there before it becomes ash, because that means the fire's done. Larry Ladder, Kenny Knockdown, Proby to represent the new firefighters, and Jake, who represents a good firefighter. Dr. Gray, that's not bad. Smokey Johnson, I like that one.
Yeah, Smokey Johnson's a good one.
Smokey Johnson. John, no, that's a little macabre, that one. Johnny Blaze, Woody Blaze, The Frost is with you. Bernie, oh, that's good.
Yeah, Bernie's a good one.
I like Bernie. Captain Ember Ash or Ignatius Inferno. These people are pretty creative.
Yeah,
Blaze or Sparky. Sparky's kind of obvious. Sparky, I know they used to name the dogs, the old dogs. What were they?
I don't know.
Well, I can't remember the name.
Some guy going way back was Smokey and the Bandit. Current reference.
Mandy.
Ember.
You're all hilarious, thanks. Mannequin, a.k.a. WWE Vince McMahon. Ashley and Charles, or Charlie. Fred.
Spark and
Fred,
Phoenix.
That's fun. Yeah.
Manny
Stiffy.
McMannequin. If one of them isn't Manny McMannequin, I'll be very disappointed. It's always a good one.
That's good, too.
All right. Guy Fieri.
I like it. Oh, I like that one.
The flame shirt, yeah.
I like that.
Manny and Quinn.
There might be some copyright rules with the Guy Fieri thing. Cinder.
Ooh, I like Ash McSmolder.
Blazeman Bob. Arson
Bob.
Daly.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is really good.
Arson Daly for the win.
Yeah.
That's number one right now, Arson Daly.
I like that.
Jack and Jill, Melvin.
There's no such thing as a perfect name for a firefighter.
See his name
Lieutenant Les McBurney. Yeah. That's awesome.
Les McBurney. What do you do at your job? Les McBurney.
I try to create Les McBurney.
Yeah, Bob and Doug. Fire Marshal Bill. There's a current reference.
Yeah. Gray's son, Bernie.
Phoenix and
Crash Burns. Oh, Crash Burns. Okay.
Yeah, Blue Flame and Bernie Aqua.
How about Crash and Burns?
Okay. Bernadette and Bernie. Yeah, okay, with the burn thing.
Rescue Rex.
There's Les McBurney.
Flame.
Through in there.
Good.
All right. Sparky,
There's
Fire
some
Marshal
great ones
Bill,
in there.
Blaze McMannequin, Fire
That's
Marshal
great.
Bill. All right. There we had our little fun, Lee. Had our little fun.
Yeah. Wow. We arrived back at the Toronto International Airport, Pearson, late last night. Well, actually, it was this morning. We got in about midnight, got our car from the park and fly place, and drove from the airport to Niagara at about 1:15 a.m. today. And what a pleasure. I almost want to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and drive to Toronto, just because you can actually drive there and back without a problem. It was so nice, Kevin.
So what was the sweet spot? 1:15 a.m.?
1:15 a.m.
That's the secret to getting to Toronto and back with zero headaches?
Yeah.
You just got to leave it.
It was spectacular.
1:15 in the morning.
Gosh, it was so nice. I said to my wife, I'm actually enjoying this drive.
Yeah, welcome back, Lee. Welcome back. Both you and Linda.
Thank you. Want to take the opportunity again. Our headline sponsor brings you this program every week, Grantham Home Hardware. Jake and Rob and all their fine folks at Grantham Home Hardware in the Grantham Plaza there, Vine and Scott on one side, Niagara Street on the other. You know the place there. Just a great bunch of people, and about as close. The home hardware stores, Grantham in particular, because I have experience with it, is about as close to you that you want to find to your dad's hardware store. You know, or my dad's hardware store. Only, obviously, They've got the updated the products and all the rest of it, et cetera. But it just has that, well, home hardware feel. Grantham Home Hardware, thank you very much for being our premier sponsor here. Niagara Parks Commission, can't say enough about how this organization has evolved and polished up over the last number of years. An absolutely spectacular group of attractions. The trip along that 56-kilometer stretch of Niagara Parkway that they're responsible for is second to none, just out even for a Sunday drive. And you can stop into the butterfly place and the School of Horticulture and all the rest of it. If you get south enough, go through Old Fort Erie. My wife and I did that a couple of weeks ago just because we hadn't been there in so long. What a great experience it is there. And at the fort, I know something I hadn't seen yet. They have a welcome center and a museum there that was never there before, and it's very, very interesting. You see a little film even before you go in. It's very cool. So stop by Old Fort Erie. Just one of the things. And Niagara Takes Flight is the new attraction that just opened a couple of weeks ago, and I got to get there because I have heard from friends of mine that it was spectacular. They were going, and I couldn't go because I was out west, but by all means, do it. Ace Alignment, I can't say enough. Janice Pretty and the gang there, it's a family business, has been a family business for a long, long time. They're on North Street here in St. Catharines. Small operation, but boy, they do big stuff. Darren Miller, Matt Crompton, head mechanic and senior mechanic, relatively to those names. They're on North Street, just behind the police station off Geneva here for whatever is ailing your vehicle. Verge Insurance, home, life, whatever you need as far as insurance is concerned, business, car. They're on Ontario Street, been operating since 1953. The Shirks and their staff, thanks very much for continuing to support the program. And Mac Outpost as well. Everything Apple. I mean everything Apple in Niagara is they're the place to go. Pick up the phone or stop in and see them. Great guys. They've always got time to chat with you and help you out. And even if it's just a casual question like, my mouth don't work, you know. Even something you think might be silly, they'll solve it for you. Be it your Mac, your iPhone, your iPad, whatever, your source for everything Apple in Niagara. So thank you very much, all of you folks, for supporting us, and especially Grantham Home Hardware, locally owned, genuinely Canadian, and that's a big deal these days. Okay, we talked about an initiative that, to be perfectly honest, full disclosure, I know nothing. But that's why we're here, to talk to Brandy Henderson with regard to the magnificent women's market. Hi, Brandy. How are you? Can you hear us loud and clear?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
We have contact, Houston. Okay, so that's good. Brandy, first of all, welcome to the program. Nice to meet you. Before we talk about the market, talk to me about Brandy. Who are you? What do you do?
Oh, well, I am actually in marketing and publishing by trade. I have my own agency, so I love to nerd out, for lack of a better word, on all things promotion, marketing, website development, digital campaigns.
Okay.
But my affiliation with the magnificent women's market that we're about to talk to is something that's been kind of a passion project of mine when I was invited to be on the advisory board a few years ago. So. All
right, so let's start there. What is this movement?
So the Magnificent Women's Market is located in downtown Niagara Falls on Queen Street, and it's been in operation for just shy of 2 years. It started as a pilot project, and how it kind of came to be was, there was an available space on downtown on Queen Street, and it was an empty storefront. And when we're talking about Niagara Falls and empty storefronts on Queen Street, it's kind of not really what we want to contribute down to that core. And the Niagara Falls Innovation Hub does a lot of programming designed for small businesses and different levels of business owners that need coaching, support, etc. So Dan Bordenave and the team here, they came up with a pilot program specifically to help female business entrepreneurs that were looking at making the transition from makers and selling products online to going into a brick and mortar situation and growing and expanding their operation.
Okay.
So it's kind of a co-programming. And it's really just flourished from there. It's no longer a pilot program. It is a full service retail spot that now has a cafe. And it's going to be around for the long haul.
All right. So a cafe. Yeah, I noticed this online. You kind of rebranded the name, Boutique and Cafe. Or explain that to me.
Yeah, so Magnificent Women's Market as a cohort program is a little bit difficult from a public perception perspective.
Yeah.
Am I coming in? Am I shopping? What's going on? Are there markets? Is it a festival? And as the retail operation grew, we found that when people come in, they really like the vibe in the space. Everybody always wants to have a coffee or a smoothie or a little snack. And so we just added the cafe option just to better service the people who are coming in. So to kind of rebrand, that's what we're working on right now. MWM Boutique and Cafe just seems a little bit more public friendly so that it's a warm and welcome spot for you to know what you're in for when you want to come visit. Yeah,
well, it does sound like an open invitation. When you say boutique and cafe, it's like, well, I'll stop by. And
I want to go.
And see what this is all about. Where on Queen Street? I know Queen Street isn't very long. I worked on Queen Street for many years, but whereabouts on Queen Street is it?
Do you know where the Highlight Diner is?
I do so.
We are right across the street.
Okay. And let me ask you this this question that people might be on people's minds. Why would I know you mentioned women entrepreneurs that want to turn on maybe an online business into bricks and mortar, et cetera, but who am I that I want to walk in and talk to you folks? Describe your target customer, if you will.
For sure. So, I mean, I'd say we could probably bucket it into two key markets. Somebody that's downtown and really wants a really good beverage. We don't have a Starbucks down here, but our lattes are bar none, so you might want to come in for that. But also, everybody really wants to shop local right now. And if you're looking for gifts or something for yourself, we have phenomenal products that are made by local Niagara makers, from cleaning products to jewelry to handmade leather products to candles, essential oils, and we're constantly curating new stockist opportunities. So it's just a really good spot to go and have access to multiple vendors with high quality products without going to a market or waiting for a market season to occur. Just come shop.
Is this a non-profit or profit-making organization?
It's a nonprofit. It's a part of the Niagara Falls Innovation Hub currently.
Right.
We might, depending on what happens in the future, go a different direction. But for now, we're in nonprofit status as a program.
And I know that as you mentioned before, you kind of got in on the ground floor as a part of the advisory committee or the board or whatever. But you, as I understand it, have taken on you kind of got the bit between your teeth right now, and you've taken on this. You're committed to taking a larger role and really promoting this thing. What motivated you to do that?
It's just really great to see, as a female entrepreneur myself who's working on growing her business, it's really exciting to be able to see, witness, and help other women do the same thing. The traditional 9 to 5 is really difficult for moms to be able to juggle the schedule, and to have your own business grow to the point where you might be able to work part-time instead of full-time or give proper support to it's just really nice to be able to help more people do that.
Do you offer consultative classes or workshops or whatever? If I'm somebody that has a home craft or a home service or something like that, I just don't know where to go to get it off the ground. Do you offer that kind of support and advice and training?
We do, and it's a blessing to be a project affiliated, and from the Niagara Falls Innovation Hub, because there's such a wealth of coaching resources available there. So we get to lean into that as well, in addition to the existing programs that are offered that are pretty standard. So
now, do you have room
it's just a really great place to be.
Do you have room in the actual store, in the actual location, for other people that might have something they want to put on display or sell or whatever? How do we go about doing that?
We do. We have an application on our website that people can fill out depending on what their interest level is. But we always just say, come on by and have a conversation with us. It might not be an opportunity to be a stockist right now,
right,
but we might have a different program or a different opportunity that would be a perfect fit for where you're at currently in your business.
Yeah.
But just come on by and we'll see what we can do to assist.
So when I was promoting the fact that we were going to talk to you, Kevin put up a shot of the Facebook page, and you said you're temporarily closed doing your renovations, etc., opening again on the 18th, which is this Saturday, right? So you're wide open as of Saturday?
Yes, and it actually looks like, based on the contractor this morning, we'll be opening on Monday instead of Saturday because we're going to have quite a bit of cleanup. But we're
okay.
Yeah, so we're updating everything today, but we're extending the bar so we can again provide better service to we're getting busy. People are coming in, they want to see what's going on. So we provide better service.
That's excellent.
Absolutely.
And you know what I find?
Adding more opportunity with shelving. Oh, sorry. I think I just froze.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You had more opportunity with what?
Oh, we're adding more shelving for merchandising so that we can help more makers sell their products.
One of the things that I find interesting about this initiative, just from having talked to you, because I knew nothing about this until today, is you're combining some traditional business models, i.e. storefront opportunities and actual tactile shopping experience, and the online world, as well as entrepreneurial skills. So it's kind of exciting that there's sort of an old world, new world synergy going on here.
I agree. It's really exciting to be a part of it, and the community is responding really well to it so far. So there's like people coming in every day, checking out the space and really enjoying what's happening there. So excited for the next couple of months.
Yeah. So Brandy, when you reopen on Monday, what are your operating hours going to be on a regular basis?
So we're aiming to be very consistently open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We would like to be able to get to a point in the very near future where we're open Monday to Saturday. But right now we're currently closed Tuesdays and Sundays, just so our new baristas that we just hired can have, proper days off.
Yeah. Okay. So Magnificent Women's Market. Great idea. Great initiative. Thank you for picking up the mantle and running with this, Brandy, because every initiative, be it retail, be it nonprofit, be it whatever, service industries, to be successful, every initiative needs a champion. And congratulations for being that champion and stepping up. And we wish you all the best with it.
Thank you so much. We have a really great team, and hopefully we'll have you by for a smoothie one day.
Oh, yeah, you will, for sure. Take care.
You can come host your show there.
Well, that's an opportunity as well, maybe. We'll do that. We'll talk.
We'd love to have you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, bye. It's interesting. Although we don't fall into the magnificent women category, Kevin, you and I suppose in these days we could call ourselves whatever we want to call ourselves.
What, you think we're more fabulous, or what do you think?
Well, we could self-identify for a day.
Well, I'm thinking I'm more stunning women's market.
All right, let's not push this scenario too far.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Good show, Lee. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Caught up with the protesters. Got some clarification from Phil Demers on what the heck is. I know so much more now than when I did before we started the show, but what the heck's going on with Marineland?
Yeah, and I tried to stay up to date with it, as I mentioned to Phil while I was introducing him, and it was funny when I was mentioning all these things, see him shaking his head, and it's like, all this stuff is like it's muddy in the waters, as he would say. Pardon the again another whale pun, but yeah, it was great to have Phil on because I've had so many people say to me, "What is going on?" Because they know we do current events in Niagara, and what is going on with this Marineland thing? It's just so confusing, and it has been confusing, misdirection and misinformation, and just crazy, but. Phil clarified that, and if you happen to miss it, you can always go back and find this in the archives of WeeStream on YouTube, as well as Niagara 411. Thank you, Nick, by the way, for your collaboration as for always. I want to thank Alicia Googoo for coming on, a young woman that shouldn't have the stories in her history that she does, but she does, and they were running the protest and well, I don't know if it's a protest, demonstration, I guess is a better word for it, at City Hall in St. Catharines today to try to solidify the future of harsher penalties for violent crimes. And I don't know that there's anybody out there that would disagree with that concept at this moment in time. Hopefully the judiciary takes notice. Phil again from Marineland. Lonnie Bissonnette, he's always a hoot to have on. Our high-flying, sky-diving, Corvette riding former Olympian right here in Niagara. God love him. Love you, Lenny. Lonnie. Sorry, called you Lenny twice. Yeah, Kevin and the Blue Jays. I don't know. I go out of town. You lose 2 games to Seattle. The Bills are playing like the Jets. I don't understand what's going on. Game 3 coming up, what, tomorrow?
No, that's tonight.
Game three's tonight
in Seattle. And Lee, put it this way: all the Jays have to do is go to Seattle and win the series. Right? Yeah. If you win a best-of-3 series, you're coming back with 2 games at home, down 3-2. Yeah. So I think that's the goal. Hey, let's just go win this series.
I don't want to be a naysayer. I mean, yeah, they dropped a couple of games. They've been playing absolutely great. They just, boy, you know what? I hadn't watched Seattle play much over the course of the season.
It's a good baseball team.
They're a good baseball team. Go Jays. I'm not throwing you out with the bathwater yet, guys. You got a good team. Just step up tonight in Seattle. I don't know why I thought there was another day off. So there we go. Again, Grantham Home Hardware, Niagara Parks, Ace Alignment, Verge Insurance, Mac Outpost, and all put together and produced, of course, by WeeStreem, Canada's premier streaming service. This has been episode 20 of Season 6 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. That would be me. And we have a musical guest to play us off the stage today. Lastly is the name of the act. Lastli. Lastly, they won the Adult Contemporary Artist of the Year at the Niagara Music Festival Awards when they were last held, and the name of the production we're going to see is If You're Gone, Stay. Have yourselves a great week, super weekend. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Ciao.
I saw your car at the mall. I heard you're working there now. At some clothing store I ain't heard of before. Though I wouldn't say hi if I saw you walk by. I sure hope you're doing alright. 'Cause every time I think about you I freeze and wonder if you're out there wondering about me. It pulls me under and I'm trying to let it go. 'Cause there's nothing to say, but I need you to know. If you're gone, stay. Coffee shop where we would meet up. It's funny how time flies when we're living our lives. I hope you know I'm doing alright. 'Cause every time I think about you I freeze and wonder if we could have ever been happy. It pulls me under and I'm trying to let it go. 'Cause there's nothing to say.